All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindful Crafting. Today we're going to be making some fall leaf stamps and stamping a little card or whatever you have on hand that you want to cover in stamps. I thought it would not be 90 when I picked a fall-themed craft. So we're just going to pretend that it feels like fall. We'll get there soon. Okay, so I'm going to get this camera set up for table view. I think that should be, everybody see that? Okay. So we've got our kits. Hopefully you picked up your kit. If you didn't, they'll be there through the end of the weekend. So should be fine. We'll start unpacking this. And as we go, I have the chat pulled up, so if you have any questions, feel free to just pop on or type it in the chat, totally up to you. All right, so unpacking this kit. Okay. So you should have one piece of this foam in the kit that's got an adhesive back. So that's what we're going to use to make our stamps. And you should have one printout of some big leaves, hard to see, but big leaves and small leaves. And you'll have your little foam sponges and 3 things of paint, cardboard backing, we'll get to that in a second. And you should have a blank greeting card and a blank envelope. To keep them paint-free, I'm going to set these off to the side so I don't get them messy before I want to. Okay, so when I tested this, I did small leaves only, and that was a little challenging. So if you're feeling like you want some bigger, easier stamps to cut out, I would go with the big leaves. Totally up to you. You can do a mix, which is what I think I'm going to do today. So we're going to start off. Hopefully you all have a pair of scissors. And we're going to pick out some of our leaves that we want for our design. So it's easiest if you just kind of cut like a big area around the leaf. So I'm not getting super into the details yet. I'm just cutting this like big circle around it. And I'm gonna pick like 3 leaves to make stamps out of. If you wanna cut all the leaves out and make stamps out of all of them, go for it. But just so we don't take a super long time, I'm gonna pick 3. So I'm doing these 2 big ones, and then I'm gonna go with, I think this is a maple in the middle. Should have learned about leaf types, which I don't know. Okay. So I've got my 3 leaves. Again, if you want to do more or fewer than that, totally fine. And then the easiest way I've found to cut these out is to hold the paper in one hand and to hold the scissors in the other. And then I keep my scissors pretty steady and I just kind of rotate the paper around as I'm following that line with my scissors. And don't worry about making these super perfect. We're cutting the paper shape out to trace it onto the foam. So if you accidentally cut part of the leaf off or whatever, you can always kind of draw it back as you're tracing it. So not worry about it. I try to remember when I'm cutting these out that leaves are organic material and they don't look absolutely perfect, and I think they're beautiful anyway, so I'm not going to get stressed about making sure all of my lines are perfectly cut. So if you've just joined us, we're just cutting out some leaf shapes from our printouts. You don't have to cut them all out. Obviously, the bigger ones are easier to cut out. So that's what I'm starting with. Okay, got one leaf down. Okay, now I'm gonna go for this tiny one. Noticing with the maple ones, it's kind of easier to cut in from the outside. Like each little separate cut.
My scissors skills.
Bastian, that's so smart. Bastian says he cut my leaves in half, so I cut both sides at once. Okay, well, you could speed up the process a lot by doing that. That's amazing. Okay, well, here we are.
My scissor skills haven't gotten better since I was 5 years old currently.
Mine haven't either. I also had 2 cups of coffee this morning, so I'm just like shaking all over the place. Okay. How is everyone doing other than Bastian, who is way ahead of all of us? Good? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to slowly move on to the next step. If you're still cutting out your leaves and you want me to like slow down or hang out for a second, just let me know. But oh, you will need a pen or pencil or some sort of marking instrument for tracing these out. So I'm just gonna get this pencil that I have right here. We have more foam than we have cardboard. You're going to want cardboard for the back of your stamp, so you have like a firm surface to kind of press down on. So since I just did 3 leaves, these are going to fit fine on the cardboard. If you're cutting out a bunch of leaves and you want a bunch of different stamps, I would see if you have any extra cardboard laying around if you want to do a bunch of backing. But anyway, just something to be mindful of. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this little leaf down on the foam. And it's easier with the foam if you're not pressing super hard into it, but just kind of making these light little strokes with your pencil or pen to form an outline. And remember, your shape is not final until you're actually cutting out your foam. So if the tracing ends up a little weird and you want to change it, you can still do that while you're cutting out the foam shape. Okay. All right, so I've got one shape down, and I'm gonna leave a little bit of room between them, maybe like a 1/4 inch, so that I can cut them out easily. I'm not worried about cutting into one of my designs. Also thinking about once we're putting paints on these stamps, it can be pretty tough to change colors and not end up with a kind of baby poop color paint if you're switching between colors on different sides of the color wheel. So if you want to do multiple stamps of the same shape that you cut out, that would be an option. That way you can have like a cool color version and a warm color version or whatever you want to do. All right. So I've got 3 traced out on my foam. I think I'm going to add another one of these little, I'm calling it a maple leaf. I don't know. I'm going to add another one. Okay, my tracing is done. How's everyone doing? Do you want me to slow down, speed up? Oh, good. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to do the same technique I did with the paper, and I'm just going to kind of cut a big area around each shape so that I can work with a smaller piece. It didn't matter too much if we really bent our paper, but we want to try to not bend our foam too much while we're cutting it. We don't want to change the shape too much, but also it's got this sticky backing that we're going to peel off before we put it on the cardboard. So we just don't want that to be lifting up and getting weird. Otherwise our stamps aren't going to stick onto their cardboard properly. All of that said, this is not a high stakes operation here. So and you will end up with foam pieces all over your work surface. So I'm trying to kind of contain them in one area, but you might want to just sweep them off to the side before they get everywhere. Okay, so I got one leaf cut out. Got these very sharp edges. I mean, it's foam, it's not sharp to the touch, but they look kind of sharp, so I might round some of those off. Maybe not all of them, but give it a little bit more of an organic look. Okay. Got a cat helping out. Oof, okay, 2 leaves down. Okay, so I've got my 4 leaves. How's everyone doing? Making progress? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna lay these out on my cardboard and think about kind of how much space I'm gonna need. You want there to be cardboard like around the entire leaf, because the cardboard is what's helping you do the stamping, basically. So yeah, you want to make sure you don't have any part of your foam leaf hanging off the cardboard, but because we're going to be putting these face down, you also want the cardboard to be a pretty close size to your leaf so that you're not thinking you're stamping it in one area and it's way farther away. So I'm going to line this up pretty close to the edge and just kind of sketch out where I want my cardboard to be. It does not have to be exact. This one's going to be smaller. Okay. Got my 4 with the cardboard. Now I'm just going to cut them out. Again, they just have to be roughly the size of your leaf. You do not need to have perfectly straight lines or be exact in any kind of way. So. Cool. Okay, so now I'm going to peel the backing off of the leaf, and this can be a little bit hard to get started, but should just pull off. And I'm going to try not to touch the sticky side too much because I don't want it to lose its stickiness. I'm going to center it on my cardboard and just kind of gently pat it down on there. And that's it down. So it's, it's not super thick foam, but it's enough that there is a difference in surface level between the cardboard and the foam. So that's all we really need. So since we're just doing leaf designs, I could have done this earlier, but we don't have to worry about the stamp reversal. If we were doing letters or a design that we wanted to show up in a specific way, we'd have to think about that. But a leaf is a leaf. So. But yeah, if you were wanting to do another stamp with any kind of or anything like that, you would definitely want to think about how you're tracing it out and how it's gonna be stamping down. Okay, so I've got 4 stamps here. Now some of you are still working, so I'm going to move on to my paint. All folks are finishing up, and you should have red, green, and yellow paint. If you want to use it exactly as is, that is completely fine. I don't love the like straight out of the tube colors, so I'm gonna mess around with making maybe some orange, maybe like a lighter green, and I'm just gonna use my lids for that. So just do some paint mixing. I don't really even have anything extra, so I'm just gonna pick one of my sponges, and I'm deciding this is gonna be my orange sponge, so I'm just gonna use that to kind of mix my paint over here. Again, this is completely optional. You don't have to make extra colors. I'll use some of my cardboard to just scoop this out. And the nice thing about stamps is they really don't use a lot of paint. So you want to mess around and make a bunch of different colors. You can do that without worrying about running out. If you are making another color, if you're doing some paint mixing, I also really like the effect that you get with kind of not entirely mixing the paints together, but letting some variation exist. So I don't know if you can see that, but I haven't thoroughly mixed it. So there's still some red and some yellow that's kind of standing out in there. I just think it makes it look more like a real leaf. Okay, I'm gonna put some newspaper down. I'm not covering my desk in paint. Okay. I've got, oh, smart. To reverse the image, trace it on the paper backing side of the foam instead of directly onto the foam side itself. I have such a hard time wrapping my brain around image reversal stuff, so that's a really good tip. So that will be how your stamp shows up if you trace it onto the paper side rather than the foam side. I love this. I love doing crafts with other people because other people have better ideas. All right. So I've done a little bit of paint mixing. I've got this kind of lime green and I've got this funky orange that, again, I didn't super thoroughly mix because I wanted some variation. If you wanted even more variation, you could go back to that main color and just kind of like dab some in. And try that with the green. All right, so I'm gonna start on my stamps. I've got my card. If you have something else that you want to decorate with stamps, feel free to grab that and have it on hand. And all right, so we've got these little makeup sponges with your kit. The best way that I've found to get an even distribution of paint is to kind of dip your sponge and then just like very gently dab it all across your stamp. You're trying to get even coverage, but you're not trying to get a super thick amount of paint, because then you end up with things like this, which I don't think looks terrible, but I had a lot of paint and I set it down and it kind of slid immediately. So if you want like a really crisp edge to your design, you're just trying to get basically coverage with as little paint as possible. So I've got some on the edge of this foam, turning this green, and I'm just gonna start dabbing it across. And I'm getting some paint on the cardboard, but it's not a huge deal. If I'm gently pressing my stamp down, it's not going to show up anyway, so. Okay. So I've got pretty even coverage. It's kind of got all these little dots on it where I've pulled the stamp or the foam away, but that's not really going to show up once we squish it down onto our paper. So don't need to worry about that. And then since this is like a big one, I'm trying to think about how I want to compose my design. I want kind of a random feeling, like you're looking at the ground and a bunch of different leaves have kind of just like plopped down. So I'm going to try to make stuff not super straight lined up, but kind of skew my stamp a little bit. And okay, I tend to overthink this, so I'm just gonna do the first one. As best as you can, try to not put it down and then move, because then you'll get that slide. So just gonna try to have a steady hand here and just set it down. And then I'm very gently just putting, I'm using one finger to keep it steady where it is, and then using the other one to just sort of gently put pressure all around. And you can kind of feel where the foam is and isn't through that cardboard. So, okay. Done pressure. I'm gonna hold my card down and I'm just gonna lift, okay, lift it straight up. All right. So we've got our first little leaf. And I like the look of kind of having them go off the edge. Oh my gosh, so cute. I love it. I love the color variation. Okay. Kate's way ahead of me. She's got like 4 stamps down. Okay. Because it's a race, because everything's a race. Don't know why stamping brings out my, not even competitive. I just feel like I gotta like get it done quickly. I have to let that go. So I picked a card to decorate because I love getting mail and I love sending people mail. So I have a friend who will actually send herself mail, which is kind of sad but also cute. So yeah, anyway, I just thought it would be nice to receive or send a little fall themed card in the mail. Gonna do this red. I've been able to get two stamps out of one application of paint, but they're not always the most thorough. Like this one doesn't have paint all across it, but I actually kind of like it. So if you're wanting one designed to kind of fade into the background, that'd be an option. Try a yellow one.
Ah.
Uh-oh.
I had a slider.
Oh no. Yeah,
That's
they can
all
kind
right.
of get away from you.
It came out okay anyway. It's a little,
Yeah,
it's a little
it's like
blurry.
an impressionist stamp. I like it.
Oh, that one's bad.
So since I only have 3 of these sponges, I ended up using my orange sponge for a yellow, and it gave me this nice like spots of orange in there. So I might do that again. And this stamp has a dog hair on it, so I'm gonna see what happens. I've been liking this color variation. I feel like it adds a little bit more depth. So I've been grabbing some other paint colors and just kind of applying them directly onto the stamp and then blending it out with my little sponge. I'm going to do the envelope too. Okay, I've gotten a ton of paint buildup on this one, so I'm going to actually just stamp my newspaper, and I can feel that it just slides immediately. So then I'm going to stamp my envelope. There we go. Okay, so we're coming up on time. I'm going to show you the last thing that I did with my first designs, which is, I felt like when I'd finished that there was all this blank space. So I ended up taking the corners of my sponge, let's see, like right here. I also used a pencil eraser and just dipped them in my paints that I'd mixed and kind of used them to fill in some of this empty space. Totally optional. I just like that it sort of brought the design together a little bit more. And I was just in stamping mode and didn't have room for another leaf, but I wanted to keep going, so this got super crowded.
Ooh. Nicole.
Oh, I love that.
Nice job.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful.
Thank you. I've been seeing the redbud branches right now are doing that. They're changing from the tips red back to green. It's really beautiful if you look out for them.
Yeah,
So I was trying to make that.
I love that. Oh, wow.
Nice.
So cool. Oh, did you cut out little lines in your leaves?
Can you hear me? I've been having
Yeah.
trouble with my computer audio. No,
Okay.
I just drew over it traced over it with a pen, and it made the
Oh.
veins. I only did it on some of them.
So it kind of just dented
Mhm.
the foam down so it was out of the way. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
and in
smart.
some places, like on this leaf, it was the paint didn't go in there, and then
Uh-huh.
on this leaf, it went way in there, and so it kind of made ridges.
Whoa.
So it worked. And then I
Wow,
also
that's
cut a
super
little
cool.
spiral to try
Oh,
and
I
fill
love
up the
that.
other spaces. Yeah.
Totally.
I started doing it on a different colored card, and that's kind of
Nice.
wonky and weird.
I like it. It looks
Julian's
like...
bringing his over. Ooh.
Oh,
Awesome.
I love this. I love the different greens and reds in there. That's beautiful. Nice job.
This is what I made.
Ah.
Oh, nice.
Hold it up a little bit more to the camera.
Oh,
There we go.
I love the brownish red. I really like that.
I love the puppy prints.
Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
paw.
That's so cute.
Or maybe they're kitty
Oh,
prints.
everyone has
They're
like
doggy
such a
paws.
different take. That's awesome. Well, you guys are all like stamping experts. Does anyone have like questions? Or I'm definitely doing that pen technique next time. I really, yeah.
It's working well.
Well, and I was lazy and didn't want to cut out twice. So I just traced around and pushed really hard straight onto the foam and then cut it out.
Oh.
So I had to
That
like,
makes-
it
yeah.
wasn't a real sharp line, but then I could look at it and draw it in where I wanted to cut, but I'm lazy, so.
These are so tiny.
Oh, wow.
They are hard to cut out. It's absolutely still have much time to make.
I like your warm color palette. It's pretty.
Great.
That's super cool.
Cool. Really good.
A little bit more green.
Then when it dries, we can make one big yellow leaf on top.
Oh, I've got to run. Thank you so much, Ruby. This was great.
Yeah, thank you all for coming.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
See you all.
Peter.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. This was great.
Yay. Hopefully it will feel like fall very soon.
Even though it isn't.
Not yet.
I know. We're almost there.
These are funny, right? Oh.
Oh, I like that.
Cute.
That came out nice. I like that branch idea, the vein idea. That looks
Yeah,
like-
I do too. That's so cool.
I'm making it first green and then it turns
Orange.
and then
I love that.
look at that. I think I'll put some green too.
No. Don't mix red with green because it just makes kind of like brown poop color.
Mm.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
All right,
day.
I'm gonna get logged off. I gotta run into the library building. But thank you all for coming. Oh, thank you. Okay, all right, signing off.